children and teenagers, the dimension of cyber safety that is most relevant to us differs from what is most relevant to adults. In fact, the type of cybercrime that we teenagers most experience is cyberbullying. I know it sounds rather small and inconsequential when you first hear it, but if you think about it, its consequences are wide and far reaching. Let's look at it this way. About 60% of internet using children have been bullied online. About 83% of children who have been bullied online have also reported in-person abuse. Children who have been cyberbullied are more likely to engage in self-destructive behavior or even suicidal behavior. And children who have been bullies themselves may suffer from school expulsions or suspensions or even legal consequences. Suffice to say, cyberbullying is one of the most pressing issues that faces our youth today. So how do we deal with this pressing issue? Well, let's start by addressing several misconceptions. Number one, everyone who bullies online bullies intentionally. While it is true that many individuals are fully aware of the fact that they are engaging in immoral behavior online, many of us are actually unintentionally cyberbullies. If I asked you right now, I'm sure the vast majority of you would say that you have never bullied anyone online. But if I asked you if you have ever posted a mean comment about your friend as a joke or posted an embarrassing picture of a friend, would your answer still be the same? Probably not. Remember that anything you post online, even as a joke or just for fun, could be perceived as cyberbullying. This leads me to my next misconception. It is okay to post potentially offensive content of your close friends online as a joke. This is a very dicey topic. Of course, some friendships are strong and a potentially insulting line or embarrassing photograph is truly taken as a joke by both involved parties. But there are other times where the sender may see the communication as a joke while the receiver sees it as an insult. At the end of the day, we have to remember that the perception of cyberbullying is based on the perception of the individual on the receiving end of the communication, not the intent of the sender. If, for example, I send a potentially offensive message to my friend as a joke, but my friend sees it as an insult, I have been a cyberbully because my friend saw the message as an insult. So how do we know where to draw the line between a joke and potentially offensive content? Well, there's a simple mechanism for this. It's called the traffic light approach. As you can see here, the traffic light approach is modeled around, well, a traffic light. There are three stages: the red light, yellow light, and green light. The red light is stop. Don't just hit the post button. The yellow light is wait. Think about what you are about to post. Is it something too personal? If so, have you taken the consent of everyone involved? Is this post or comment something you will regret 5 years down the line? Trust your instincts. If even for a second you remotely believe that your post might be offensive, it probably is. Don't post it. Now go modify your comment or your post based on your reflections. Take permission from anyone if you need to. Once you are completely sure that your post or your comment has met all required standards, you have the green light. Go ahead and post it. Perhaps one of the biggest misconceptions about the internet is that we are anonymous. Anonymity is one of the biggest drivers towards cyberbullying. The entire reason that we exploit social media the way we do is because we assume we're anonymous. But this is not true. Create all the fake accounts you want, but I reiterate, we are not anonymous online. Let's look at the example of the boys' locker room case. In essence, a group of students from Delhi created an Instagram group where they discussed sexual assault. Now this, without doubt, is not only an example of cyberbullying, but is also an example of an offense that was punishable by law. Now, how does this tie back to the question of anonymity? Well, of the 27 members on the group, around 7 of them used fake accounts and VPNs to mask their identity. Nevertheless, upon cybercell probing, every single one of them was identified and held responsible for their actions. This just goes to show that we are not even close to anonymous. Every line we comment, every picture we post, everything that we upload can be traced back to us. So ask yourself next time before you post something, will you be okay with the whole world knowing that you said this?